Good afternoon, sir.
Hello. Hey, how are you?
Fine, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I just chill for a few minutes for some people to join.
All right, that's fine.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello, Obianuju. Sir, I think we could just start Maybe others will join us as we go on.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So maybe we'll look at what we started with yesterday. So yesterday, basically, we covered, I think, pivot tables, right? Pivot tables. Oh, that our Excel file. So this is what we did yesterday now, isn't it? We covered pivot. So we can differentiate between a pivot and non-pivot tables, right?
Yes.
Can we? Can we differentiate a pivot and non-pivot table?
Yes, yes, we can.
Yes, we
Yes.
can. All right, good. So most time when you say a pivot table, so just imagine the variables, right? They are in separate columns, right? So this is a pivot. So on pivot means I am moving them from this form into a single column. So now they are what? Unpivoted. So if you want to pivot them, that means you come back to this way, okay? And you see, for example, if we were to create maybe that simple one, for example, if I have, let's say, group, let's say I have group 1, let me say group 2, group 2. Then maybe I can have maybe another, maybe category. For instance, maybe category A, category B, category C, then maybe category D. Then here the same thing, A, B, C, D. Okay, I think that's fine. Then let's say we now have, what other thing again can we have? Okay, let's say we have sales. Let's say we have sales. We can do a round between 1 and 10. 1 and 10. Okay, so let me just copy that out. Copy, paste. Good. Let's say we have. Okay, that's fine. So what kind of data is this now? Is it pivot or unpivoted?
On pivot.
On pivot.
So how did you know that it's unpivoted?
Because you have all of them in one column. Like category, you have A, B, C, D. So they're different categories. But they're in
Exactly.
one column.
But they're in one column, isn't it? They're in one column, exactly. Okay. So maybe if I call this one Pete, so let me save this. Let me save this. All right, good. So that was one thing we had seen. Then again, we showed you how to import data. We know how to import our data, right?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, what I didn't show you guys. So remember, yesterday we were showing you that you can copy your paths, isn't it? You need to copy the paths. I think that's what we showed yesterday now, how you have to copy your path and go and paste, right? Now, there are some situations where you don't actually need to copy the path, okay? As long as you're, so let me show you this. So you see, when you open your Jupyter notebook, right? When you open your Jupyter notebook like this, if, for example, my file is on my desktop, right? Normally, when we have it like this, we just open it from here. This is the root directory. This is a root directory. Okay. But if I specify the folder, okay, it is in my desktop. Can you see my desktop? So it means I am opening from my desktop. Can you see what's the name of that file? Is it pivot also? Pivot. Is there pivot here? Yes, it's here. Can you see it here? Can you see pivot? So what's the name? Pivot dot what? XLS, right? Can you see the file here?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Now I am opening it from the desktop. So you notice I clicked desktop. This was what I had before. So I had to click desktop, and the file was in the desktop, or whatever folder you are, you select the folder and click it. Okay. Once I've done that, I'll click new. So it means that this user notebook is opening from my desktop. Can you see that? It's opening from my desktop. Okay. Now that I'm here, so what do I need to do first?
I think we should rename it. Okay.
Import.
Okay, like in the code. Okay, import.
Import pandas as pd, import file as empty, isn't it? Now I want to bring in the data. How do I bring in the data?
pd.read.
pd.read. What am I reading?
Excel.
Excel.
Okay. What's the name of the file?
Pivot.
You have to paste it.
Pivot dot what?
SSLS.
XLS. Like this, right?
Yes, sir.
You see, in this case, I don't need to copy and paste. I see data is coming.
Yes, sir. Because on your desktop.
Yes, because I opened it from my desktop, so I didn't know to copy the paths.
Okay.
You see the difference now. But if I had copied it from desktop now, or I copied that part, I would have to say, okay, read it from. You see that? But in this case, because it's opened from that particular folder, I don't need to copy the parts or put read. I'll just only put the file name. That's all. Okay. If there was a particular sheet name, what was the sheet name? Let's say sheet name. What was that sheet name? Was it PT? I saved it as or what? Pivot. So PT. Okay, I saved it as PT. All right, good. So if I want to call it now, so I'll call it what? PT. Right? So if I run it now, can you see that file now? You see now I don't have to be calling the full parts anymore. I'll just only call it by that name. Did you get this?
Yes, sir.
I know sometimes when I'm teaching the same thing again, because we have done it before, I will now teach something new. So even if I'm teaching the same thing, there will always be something I'm adding to it. Okay, so even when you say, oh, he has taught this before, and there will always be something I will add different. Okay, and that's the same way when you are learning. So that way, even when you see there's a course that they are doing, maybe it's Python beginners, still always try to attend. There's always something you must learn. Okay, it's always something new. All right, so that's basically how to bring in your data, isn't it? And we showed you how to do your pivoting. So for example, if I want to just summarize maybe this one, maybe I just want to have group one, let's say that group, so I have 1 and 2, isn't it? Then I will have maybe like A, B, C, D with the numbers, right? So just like me taking my pivot table, my group to my row, my category to my column, then my sales to my values. I think that's how we normally do it on your pivot table, right? So remember, the only difference between your pivot and your pivot table in Python is that, what's the difference between your pivot table and pivot in Python? What's the difference? What's the difference between your pivot table and pivot in Python? on your pandas. Yes, what is that difference?
Is it that in Python, in Excel, it normally summarizes by default?
Now I'm saying in pandas, right? What's different between pivot table and pivot? Well, we looked at yesterday, pivot table and pivot.
Okay. I think pivot does not give you the aggregate function also.
Yes.
But for pivot table, you can
You
have
have to,
the
yes. And
function.
that's basically the difference. Okay. So one will just give you the pivot. That pivot table will aggregate it for you. But pivot will just arrange it for you in the structure that you want without aggregation. Okay. So which means if I want to maybe I say, okay, df equals to so pivot. What's the name of this data set now? This is data, isn't it? Data dot what? Pivot. Okay. Now, what are the arguments there? So remember shift tab if you cannot remember it. So we have index, we have column, we have values. Can you see that? So we have index.
Yes.
What will be my index now? What will be my index? Your index is the same thing as what?
Rows.
Your rows, exactly. So what will be on my row?
I think group.
Group, right? Group, good. Then what will be my columns?
Category.
Category. Then what will be my values?
Sales.
Sales. What's the problem there? Group. Let's see what happens.
So we might need to check the Excel to know, like last time, maybe a space or something.
That's so let's see. Okay, and that is exactly the problem. Exactly the problem. So let's come back and run it again. Run it again and run it again. Group. And so when I put space, it works, right? But anyways, but you see where so if I run it like give me an error, if I put a space here to run it, so it means that from the original data, right? So I have to save that. Let me run it here again. Data. Now if I type data.columns, okay, that works. So let me take that out. Okay. So that's worked now. So you understand how to work with this, right? So what have we done? We have just only summarized it. Can you see we did not do any aggregation here. We have only summarized the data in this form. Okay, so we have the group 1, 2, category A, B, C, D. Can you see that? So that is about pivots. Okay. Then yesterday we also looked at certain things. We looked at your group by. We looked at group by, isn't it?
Yes.
We have seen how to treat missing data. We know how to handle missing data now, right?
And the forward field, B field.
Yeah, the key, field any, field with text, field with value, forward field, backward field. Okay. Drop.
So, but we can run through it again. Just
Is that?
So we can run through it again just to refresh our memory.
Now we have done it twice already now.
Okay.
Because we need to build to something else.
Okay.
This one I'm just recapping for especially pivot and pivot table. That's what I'll recap now. But for fill, we have done that. We did that last week now, isn't it? And we also did it yesterday. But the
Okay.
important thing that you just need to remember is that whenever you have your data set, right? So this is data. So I'll first of all need to check, is there any empty? So I'll say, how do I check if it's empty? It's null, right? It's null. So what is it telling you? All false. But if I want to see it in terms of values, then I'll say dot sum. So it's not telling you, can you see how it is? So that means there are no empty words values. Okay. If in case there was empty and you want to drop it, I'll say maybe data dot drop any. Anywhere I see any empty values, I will drop it there. Okay. And this, remember, this is for the rows. But if I also drop for the column, then I have to say axis equals to what? 1. Then this will drop any column that have empty what? Data. Remember that? Then again, if we have to fill any value, then we can say, okay, maybe data dot fill NA. Okay. What am I filling with? I can say fill with value. Either I can use a text, right? Either I use a text, or I can say, okay, fill with null or fill with 0. Okay. Or I can pick a particular column. Okay? Or I can say fill data dot mean, fill with the mean of it. Or I can say fill with the median. Right? Or again, we can also specify, okay, rather than fill that the mean or the median of a particular column. Let's say, which column is this? We say with category. So fill with the, okay, let's say fill the median of sales. And close it now. So that's basically what we are looked at. Okay. So first of all, you need to check whether there's missing data, right? If there's missing data, what can we do? Either we drop or we fill. Okay. Either we drop or we fill. Is that okay now?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's good. So this was data. Okay, that's fine. Data. All right. Okay, that's fine. Then what again did we look at yesterday? What again do we look at? And remember again, sometimes when you have your data, right? How do you summarize the data in the descriptive statistics? How do you summarize it?
Data dot
Data
describe.
dot describe.
Data dot describe. So you see, when we are going to do exploratory data analysis, now these are things you are going to be doing. You're just summarizing what the data, just to explore and understand the data. Okay. Then again, we also showed you how to group. We showed group by, isn't it?
Yes.
So how do we do group? So data dot what? Group by what now? Let's say group by what? What are we grouping by?
By category.
Okay, group by category. What's wrong? Okay, category. But now we now need either we use the sum, either we use a sum, or we use what? Or we use a count, isn't it? Or we use what again? Or we use the median, right? So this is how we are just summarizing. So group by. So you can also do that. Then again, apart from your group by, we know how to transpose, right?
Dot T or dot transpose.
Yes, dot T or dot transpose, yes. Dot T or dot transpose. Okay, that's fine. Then again, we looked at okay. Let's bring in our another data set. Which one did we look? So we have brought in pivots. Okay, so let's bring in the other one, pivot and non-pivot quickly. So let's say data one. So this will be, let's say, pivot data. So I can copy here again, data two. This is on pivot. Data two. Then we run. So we see data one now. Then we have data two.
Sir,
Yes.
so it's possible to read like two data sets at the same time.
Yes, now. Yes. Now. You can run 10 at the same time.
Okay.
You can bring all of them at the same time. You know, because we are still learning, that way I bring them one by one, right? But now we are getting used to it. So that way I can now run all of them at once. Okay. So for this, so data one is what? Pivot, isn't it? So if I want to unpivot it now, what do I do? If I want to unpivot it, what do I do?
Data one dot stack.
Data one dot what? Stack,
Stack.
right? So maybe I can put it in what now? I can put, where would I put it now? Let's put it in a variable now, right? We can put in a variable. What should we call the variable now?
Unpivoted or stacked.
Okay, let's say stacked. Now, what's the data type for this? Now, how do I check data type?
Type in brackets stack.
Type stacked. Okay, so this is a series now. So what do you want to put it in now?
Data frame.
So how do we put in a data frame now?
Stacked equals
Okay, stacked equals to
PD dot data frame.
Data frame.
Stacked.
Stacked. So if I run stack now, so we now have it in the data frame. Now here, remember now for the column now, I want to put the column name immediately now, right? Instead of renaming it later, I can put the column name. So how do I rename the column here?
Columns equals to.
Then
Then apostrophe.
let's call it sales, right? What did he say? Must be called with a collection of some kind.
I wish to put it in a square bracket.
Square bracket, yeah. Okay, so that's fine. So let's run that. So, hey, what happened there again? Any. So what has happened now? So let's go back and run it again. So let's go back and run it again. Let me run it again. Start. Let me take this guy out. Okay, but let's see if we were to now rename it now. So, what's the alternative way of renaming it now? So, we have to rename
Stacked.
this one.
Dot rename.
So what are we renaming?
Columns equals to.
So in case you don't remember it, right? So what are we trying to do now? Where is it now? So rename what? So what are we renaming now?
The columns.
The columns, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll type what here now?
Columns
Columns like this.
equals to, yeah,
Equals to
curly bracket,
curly brackets.
an apostrophe sales.
Sales like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not complete.
So
So what are we doing?
0 in in colon, then sales.
Sales in column.
No, 0. I think the name of the column
Okay,
is
0.
Yeah.
Okay, so 0 here. So we're
Yeah.
turning it to sales like this.
Sales.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Wonderful.
good. So you see, it's those little things that later will now come. See, yes, I remember we have done it, but how do I now do it? Because again, I will see, remind me to also show you how to take this into Excel. Because you sometimes after doing all the transformation here, you still need to take it back to Excel or save it back either as an Excel file or as a CSV file. Okay, so that's fine. So this is how to transform from what now? This is from where now? This is from what? A pivot data to what? On pivot, isn't it? On pivot to on pivot. Okay. So let's look at the next one. So this, what type of data is this?
A data frame.
Yes, pivot on pivoted.
Unpivoted.
Unpivoted, okay, good, unpivoted. And most time, this is how you want your data to always look like, isn't it? But I also showed you that some situations, I think we created one where I showed you how to melt the data, right? Because most time, this is how you want your data to actually look like. So you need it to be unpivoted, not pivoted, okay? Now, if you look at that, our pivot data, sorry, is it data 2 or data 1? No, data 1, yes. So for this, our data 1, remember, if we want to make it such a way that we want to unpivot, maybe for example, we want these two labels to carry, maybe these two labels, these two columns, A and B, maybe they should remember this C and D should now be like a group along with this data. Okay, so in that case, what you do is what they call a melt. You will melt the data. Okay, so here I can say data 1 dot what melt. So if you check dot melt, you see this function. You remember, you know how to read this now, right?
Yes,
you know how this thing came about. You know when you're creating your function. You remember how you were creating your function, your docstring.
Yeah.
How do you do a docstring?
Use a triple.
Yeah, triple, exactly. So that is why whenever you are creating your function, you also have to put instruction. That's why a docstring is important. So you put an instruction on how they should go about your function or how to use your function, because sometimes after creating it, you may not be there. Okay, so other people can now read it and now learn how to use your function. Okay, but this is just a typical example, so you can read through later and see how it's done. Okay, these are just different examples. All right, so we have data 1 dot melt, right? Now, if I don't know the parameters, if I press shift tabs, can you see ID variables? Okay, so I'll say ID variables, because some will be asking, where did this guy ID variable come from? So it's part of the default argument. Okay, so in this case, what do we want to see? What do you want to see? Okay, let's say, assuming you see now, let's look at it. If I put A and B now, A and B, let's run A and B. So what has happened? You notice the variables A and B will remain, isn't it? it is this C and D that will now become a group. Okay, so if I call it, let's say DF is equals to that, right? So if I run DF, now I want to change this name, variable and values. So I want to change this variable to group. I want to change these values to cost. So how do I do that?
df dot rename.
Okay, df dot rename.
Brackets. Columns equals to
Columns equals to
curly brackets.
yes,
Variable column.
variable column.
I don't know what name group of it. The name we want to use.
Let's call it group. All right.
Then comma. Value equals to value column cost.
Column cost. All right, that's it. Yeah, done. Can you see that? So sometimes, even if you don't want to unpivot the whole data, you want to pivot a certain part of the columns. Okay, that is when you are using melt. Can you see that? But if you want to unpivot everything, what do we now use? We use what? Stack. Stack will unpivot everything for you. But if you just only want to unpivot not all the columns, but just specific columns, then you use melt. So can you see the difference now between your melt and your stack? So those are the technical difference between both of them. Okay, are we clear with that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's continue. So let's come to the main thing we want us to do today. Now, let's also create another data set. Let's say, for example, which example can we use now? Okay, no, let's just create a simple one so that we can follow it. Let's say pd.data frame. So let me create, let's say A, let's call it A. So maybe this A now, we have, can be whatever text you want. Okay, let's say, for example, A1, let's say A2, let's say A3. I think this example, will this one be simple enough to understand? We understand that A contains A1, A2, A3. We understand it this way. Or should put numbers instead, 1, 2, 3. Which one should we do?
I think it's okay like this, sir.
It's okay like this. All right, okay, that's fine. So let me just create the same thing. So this will be for A. Let me create another one for, B. Then this one will have what? B1, B2, B3. Okay, let us comma again. Let me do for another one. Let's say C. So this will be C1, C2, C3. Okay, I think this is not, this should be enough. Okay, let me do one more. D, so this will be our D1, D2, D3. So I'll just copy them and we can work on this. All right, good. Then in case, for example, I need to put, let's say, you know, like when you're creating your data frame, you can also specify the way you want your index to be. But by default, what is the index? What's your index, your default index?
0, 1, 2.
0 what? 0, 1, 2, is it not? Or whatever you have there. So it will be 0. So where is it now? So it will be 0, 1, 2. Where's the other one now? Where's my D? Where did my D run to? Okay. So have you seen what has happened? So you run it like this. A, B, C, D, isn't it? That's your column, isn't it? Now for each of them, you now have what? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Can you see how the data has come out now? A, B, C.
Yes, sir.
So you now have for each of them. So for A, I have 1, 2, 3. For B, 1, 2, 3. For C, 1, 2, 3. For D, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now let's create another one now. Let's create another data set. So let's say DF2. Let me copy the same thing. Let me copy another. Let me create another one. Let's say DF2. So now in this case, for A, I will call it. So let me call this one 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. The other one will be what? Let's call this one 4, 5, 6. So that means when I want to join these two tables together, what am I going to have?
And pivot table.
And
pivot data.
Pivot data.
I said on pivot.
To now be like ABCD, ABCD, like 8 columns.
So just imagine now you have, or should we use 3 tables? Should I show you 3 tables? Will 3 tables be okay, or 1, 2 tables okay? Okay, let's use 2 tables. Let's use these 2 tables. So, for example, if I want to merge them together, there's what we call, in Excel, you know what they call concatenation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what does concatenation do?
It combines. You add 2 strings.
To combine, isn't it? You see, concatenation, the way we learn it in Excel is more like for strings. Isn't it? It's more like for strings. Okay. Yes. But you see, in Python too, you can also have concats, right? You can also have what they call concat. So, for example, it's also part of your. It's also part of a function in your data, in your pandas. So let's say I have date. Let's say table. Let me say table is equals to pd.concat. Concat. Okay. So what do I want to concatenate? DF1. Is it DF1 I called it? Okay, DF and DF2. Okay, DF and what? DF2. Okay. Now, but take note, so I have to put it in brackets so that because it's a column, right? Because it's in columns. Okay, let's run this one first and see. So if I run this as table, what did it do now?
You join them, listing everything.
Yeah, so let's look at it now. Can we see it? Okay, look at this is DF1 now, right? So this is what now? It's supposed to have joined. I'm supposed to have seen A, B, C, D. Is it not? Sorry. A1, B1, is it not? C1, D1. But you notice it's picking only from this last table and joining them together.
Yeah.
Do you notice that? So that's why when you are picking it, you need to specify that they are on the column. So take the column. So I have to specify that axis equals to 1. You know, to specify on the columns. Okay. So let's run that now. So can you see what it has done now? It has now arranged it that it's going to be on the what? Axis or on the columns.
But you still did not pick the A1, B1.
Yeah, that was I'm looking at why is not picking that? But let me see now. So I call this one DF, isn't it? So DF. Okay. Okay, see the problem here. Can you see the problem here? This is the problem.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we said DF2 is equal to
Yeah,
DF.
yeah, is equal to DF1. So let me run this again. So let me run this again. So that's that. So let me run this again. Let me run this again to confirm. All right, good. So if I have run this now, right? So let me run table. Does it work now?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Now, the same way, if I did not specify that it's going to be on the column side, I will leave it this way. So let me run it again. So let me run table. So can you see how it has appeared now? So either it will appear this way or this way. So all you have done is that you just brought the two tables together. Okay, but you know, normally in practice, we don't normally join tables this way. But this one, what has done? It has concatenated. So just bring the two tables together, put them together, right? But you see, it did not separate the column names or anything. It just brought the table the way it is. But what we normally do is that, you see, when you have your tables, right? When you have your tables, let's say, for example, should we still use this one? Okay, let me create one. So maybe I'll have a left join. Let me say I have a right join. Yeah. So we'll see how left and right will work. So I'll copy the same data set. Let me just copy the same data set. Let me copy this data set. Because you know how we normally do it is that if I want to merge these two tables, I have to ask myself, okay, how am I merging these two tables? So if you're to merge these two tables, what will you merge them on? What will you merge the tables on?
On the column.
On that column is called what? The column you are merging is called what? Think up from an SQL point to. In SQL, when you are joining those two columns, how do you join them together? Or what are you joining them on? In the same way you have done.
In SQL, we used to use index. We used to use a particular index to link the two columns.
Is it index?
Are we joining them on the field or on the?
On the field, but you see, in SQL, there's something we call it. That thing you're calling a field. What do we call it?
Is it the transaction? No, not transaction.
We normally call it a key now, is it not?
Yes.
It's a key. It's a field name, is it not? But it's a key. Either it's a primary key or a foreign key.
Okay.
So what do we now use to join tables in SQL? Is it the primary key or foreign key?
Primary key.
What's a primary key?
Like the unique identifier for that table, for that data set.
For that data set, right? the unique identifier for that data set. Good. Okay. Remember, the primary key in another table becomes the foreign key, and that is what is linking those two tables together. So it's the foreign key you are using, isn't it? So it's that particular column name that you used to say, okay, there's this column here and there's this column here. So can I bring them together? Yes, so I'll put them together. Okay, so it's the same way that you use what they call a key. So let me call this one a key, right? So I can call this maybe let me call this K1, let me call this one K1, let me call this K2, let me call this K3. Okay, let me call this, let me say left job, so that we understand what we are doing here. So maybe I can, okay, I can leave this one as there now, right? I can leave this one as there. Let me copy, let me create another one again. Let me do let me pick another one. Okay, let me say this, let me call this one right. Let's call this one right. So let's call this key. These ones, are they the same thing now? They are the same, right? Yes, they are the same. But here
Yes.
I want to have maybe something else. Let me say, to make it different. Now let me make this one. Let's make this one what? Let's make this one 4, 5, 6. Let's make this one 4, 5, 6. Let's make this one 4, 5, 6. All right, good. So let's run that. All right. So if I call left, can you see that? If I call right, can you see that? Now, if I want to join these two together, what will I join them on?
On the key.
On the key, isn't it? We can join them on the key. Now, you see, when you are using Python, right? You have different methods to do it. So you have your join. You also even have what they call merge. We have seen concat, isn't it? Concat just brings them together without necessarily separating which keys on which. But here we can also do merge. So we also have pd.merge. Okay. So what are we merging? We can merge the left table. We can merge what the right table, isn't it? How do you want to merge it? How do I want to merge? What's the method of merging? You know, when you are joining, how do you join? If you want to join together, how do you join?
On the key that is common to both of them.
So what type of join is that? What type
Like
of
an
join?
inner join.
Inner join, exactly. So here you call it what? Inner. Okay. You see where your SQL skill now comes here? Because the same way we are here, because later I will show you how to connect this, your SQL inside Python. Then you'll be writing your SQL script inside Python. Okay. So at that point now, you now see where you now need to what? Master your SQL, bring it into Python, connect to the database, extract the database, do the analysis, do your visualization, export. You see, everything will be done inside Python. Okay. So that's why if you have forgotten your SQL, go back again to it and brush it up. And now I say, as data analyst, that join is very important. Yes, those select this table, that's fine. But also you need to learn how to join. Very important. Okay. So how am I going to join it? So join it on what now? What are we joining on?
On the key.
On the key. You know, I will join on what? The key. So let's see. So has he picked it now?
Yes, it does.
Has he picked it now? So look at the key now. So the key is what? 1, 2, 3. So that's the 1, 2, 3 that's picked. Is it not? So for B, I have 1, 2, 3. Is it not? C1, C2, C3, D1, D2. So that's what I have. This is my first one. Is it not? The second table now is what? B4, B5, B6, C4, C5, C6, D4. Can you see that now? That's now joined them together. So that is what they call a merge. That is what a merge. Have you seen it now? Merge. And most time either use a right merge, inner merge, but again, don't bother yourself. Most times, what you want to see is that you know your inner join, right? It's where it's common to both of them to pick, right? If there were some missing data there, if I would have created one, or maybe at that time I would do it again. But let me show you join, because you also have join. You also have join here. Okay. So for example, if I say let me see which data set now. Okay, let's call this, okay, let's say left. So left, so the table is called left, right? So let's say left dot join, right? Left dot join. What am I joining on? Which table am I joining?
Left
Which
and
table?
right. You're joining it.
I'm joining right table, isn't it? How do I want to join it? How do I want to join it?
On the inner.
Inner. Left join. Let me see what's the error. Say columns overlap, but no suffix specified. Let me see. Columns overlap. Okay, let's see. So when I say columns overlap now, columns overlap. Let's see. Okay. Columns overlap. Let me see how else we can create this table. If I have, for example, A, B, okay, let me create two. Let me just create two, A, B, and C, D. Let's try it that way. Let me see that structure way. Okay, say columns overlap. Okay, let me use different names and see. So if, for example, let's say I have DF, okay, let's say DF1, right? So I have my key here. Okay, let me call this one what? Let me call this one A. Or let's use it as key. I don't want the second table, I don't want them to have the same name. I want to have a different. Okay, let me just use the first, let me just take this one out. Let me copy this. Let me paste here. So here DF1. So let me call this one E. So let me call this one A1, A2, A3. All right, so let me take these other ones out. So I will have something like this. Let me see some work for me. So let's call this DF2. So let me take these guys out. So let me have from okay, let me do anything. So DF1. So this is AB.
Oh, good afternoon, sir. Big man. Sir. I know.
Okay. All right. So we have A, B, C, right? So in that case, if I have two distinct now, so let me see. If I want to join them, let me say the first one is DF1, right? So DF1 dot what? Join. What am I joining on? I'm joining on what? DF2, right? How do I want to join it? Inner. Did it work here? Is this correct? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yes, it is.
So this is it now. Okay. So this is it. Now, in that case, you now notice now that here, you did not specify which key, because you also have to look at the method. So the way the table is that will determine how you are going to do it. Where you are just only trying to join them, right, based on their And again, sometimes you also need to also understand that sometimes the index may be different. For example, when we are creating this, we can also specify the index. Let me show you here. Here you can also specify a particular index. Normally you can have index 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, index 0, 1, 2, 3. But in this our case, we have index what now? This our own is just index 0, 1, 2. So you notice that it joined them on their index. Can you see that it joined them on their index?
Yes,
So if we have much larger data sets, let me say for example, let's say for example, if I put the index now, let's say index, let's say I have index 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let me run this and see. Follows arguments. What's the problem here? What's the error here?
We're specifying 4 values, whereas we have just 3.
Yes, so normally I'm going to put in the compound brackets. And what again? What's the last error? Shape. Okay, the shape. So I have here 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. All right, good. So let me take here again. Index. Let's say we have here 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let me run that and check. So can you see 4, 5, 6? So when I'm joining them together, what will it now be? Here they were the same index now, isn't it? Before. So let's see if I join it this way now, what will it look like? What happened?
There's no unique, there's no foreign key or something relating both of them. So.
Yes, you remember it is joining them by default on the index.
On the index.
Yeah. Can you see that? Because these two indexes are not the same. But if I say, for example, 1, 2, right? 1, 2. So let me join it now. Let us see. Can you see that I picked only 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Do you understand it now? So when it's now joining it, it's joining it on the index where they have the same index numbers. Okay. If, for example, this one had 1, 2, 3, and this one just had, let's say this one just had 2. Let's say this one had, let me say 0, 2. This has 1, 2, 3. So which one will he pick now when he's joining?
To pick 0 and 2.
If you pick what?
To pick 0.
To pick only 2.
Only 2.
Only 2, because only 2 is common to both of them.
Yeah.
Can you see that? So whenever you are joining on the index, on the rows, right? Then that is when most times this join will be more appropriate for it, okay? But when you want to just merge them together, see, like your normal join, like you do your SQL, that is the merge. So can you see the minor differences now?
Yes, sir.
So these are the only things that you can now know when to use which, okay? So that's how you normally do your joins, okay? That's how you normally do your joins, okay? Do we have any data sets we can be looking at? I think we have Superstore data. Do we have our Superstore data?
Yes.
So maybe we can just look at that and maybe just explore it and just see how, at least with small data.
Should we use the data that we used to join on the SQL, where we had different tables?
You can bring that if you want now. You can bring that if you want. But I'm just looking for a file first that we can just easily explore first. Then later we'll now show you how we can now connect your SQL inside Python. Okay. Superstore data. Let me see which one do I have here. Okay, I have Superstore. Okay, Superstore. Okay, this one is a series. Now your Superstore data, is it an Excel file or a CSV file? Superstore. So if I have here Superstore PD dot what? Read, mine should be a CSV. Superstore dot CSV. What's the problem? We have come. UTF can't decode it. Now, this and that challenge that some of us will also have, right? So when you go back to your, so check your own CSV, check your own Superstore data. Check your own Superstore data. Let me open my own. Check your own Superstore data. What is the format for your Superstore data? What is format for your own Superstore data? So for example, if I want to save and I say save as CSV, so let me say save as, which error was it giving me? Was it this one? UTF, whatever. So let me say, let me call it Superstores, and let's try Superstores. So let's go back and try again. So have you seen your own file, your own Superstore data? So Superstore. So can you see my own case now? It has worked now, right?
We can't see your screen anymore.
Or you can't see my screen anymore. You know when he gave me that error, so I have to go and receive the CSV file. Okay, I have to go and receive that CSV file. Then now it has come in. So now you see your normal data set. So do you have this data set now? This is your Superstore data. Either we have saved it either as an Excel file or a CSV file. I don't know which one your own version is. So what do we notice? You see that how many rows and how many columns here?
Like 9,900.
9,000.
So if I want to easily check, if I did see it here, how else can I check it? To know the rows and columns. How else can I check it?
Does it count?
Count.
Oh, what's the name of this thing? I've forgotten.
Asking for shape.
Shape.
Shape. So what's the name of this? Superstore dot shape, right? So can you see it now? So this shape now, we'll now check. You remember when we were dealing with NumPy? You know, when we're telling that your table is actually in Python is looking at it as a matrix, right? And how do we read matrix? How do we read matrix?
Row by column.
Row by column. So you see this your table. So this is row what? So this row is telling you there are about 9,984 rows and 22 columns. Can you see that now? So if you don't see it like that, that shape is what we're able to check the structure of your table. Okay. Now remember again, if I want to check this, and you notice that it's unlike Excel would have shown me 0 to 9,000 to the last, isn't it? But you notice here, it will only give you the first 5, then put dots. That means, and give you the last 5. So if I want to check the first 5, how do I see the first 5? How do I check the first 5?
Superstore.head.
Superstore.head. Okay, so dot head, right? So first 5. If I want to check the last 5, how do I check the last 5?
Superstore dot tail.
Superstore dot what?
Tail.
So that's first 5, last 5, and that's what this is doing for you. So when I bring it out, you give me the first 5, you give me what? The last 5. But if I want to just check maybe the first 2, how do I check the first 2?
I use the index superstore.
Is that what?
I don't really know. Maybe if you use the head and the index to pick that.
So I want to just pick just maybe the first 2 or the first 2. Let's say the first 2 rows. The first 2 rows.
You say superstore in brackets, 0 colon to 2. Like that will work.
Or superstore, and then say the index equal to 0 and 1.
0 and 1. Look at it now. Superstore, is it not? Dot what? Head, is it not? I want to see how many do I want to see?
2.
2.
Okay.
That's all now. Show me the first 2 now. 1, 2. Isn't it? Then for example, if I don't want the data to look like, this is 0, 1, right? So for example, if I want to set, sometimes you can also set maybe the row ID as the index. So how can we do that?
Superstore dot set index.
Is that what? How do I set the index? Superstore. Okay, first of all, if I want to check the list of columns, how do I check all the columns? I want to check all the columns, or I want to bring out all the columns. How do I bring out all the columns? Because when you're typing this, sometimes you're not sure whether there's space or there's no space. So sometimes I just want to see what the column looks like. So how do I show all the columns? Yes? How do I check all the columns?
You just superstore in brackets columns.
Dot columns now.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Dot columns. Now, why is it important to do this? Because sometimes if I am trying to check this, I am not sure whether there's a space here or not. Isn't it? Because if I'm trying to specify, right? Now I have seen that there's a space here. Okay. Now, if I want to set this row ID as the index, now what do I do? I want to set the row ID as index. Now what do I do?
Can you do superstore dot set index?
Yes, superstore dot what? Set what?
Set index.
Index. What do I want to set it?
Order ID.
Set index.
The
What do I want to call it? Row.
The order ID.
We say row ID, Abi.
Okay, row ID.
Row ID. So can you see it now? Row ID is now the what index. So let me put it. If I say equals df equal to, if I say df equals to, or if I want to make it permanent, how do I make it permanent?
In place.
In place. So which one do you prefer? To create it on the new variable or use in place?
Create on a new variable.
Okay, if I create on a new variable df, so this is now it. Okay, so if I call superstore, superstore will still give me my original one. You see why sometimes it's good you create it on a new variable so that I don't need to go back to start running it. I'll now, okay, this one is somewhere here just in case there's any error there. Okay, good. So we have now seen how to what? Read your words. So now you can understand it 1, 2, 3. Because normally on your table, you say, this row ID has no important role for me now. So have you seen where it's now playing a role for you? Or sometimes you can even use other ID as your words. Okay. All right, good. What again do you want to do? Sometimes if you look at your data, for example, I want to select the first 3 rows. You know how we selected the first 3 rows, right? We selected it by saying, let's say df dot what? Hey, did it not? I put 3.
Yeah.
I think this is what has happened. It will give me the first 3 rows. First 3 rows. Now, if you want to use it this way, right, it's also possible. But where you want to now select specific rows, I want to select specific rows, okay? Because this one must be sequential, maybe 1, 2, 3. They don't bring everything for me that way, okay? But again, if I want to write it this same way, I can also use the index. Remember, we can use what? The index location, iloc, yeah? Index location. So here I can say df dot what? iloc, right? Let's say give me from where to where now? Give me 0 to what now? 0 to 2. 0 to 2 will give you what? 1, 2. So it means if I want the first 3, what do I do? 0 to what? 3, right? 0 to what? 3. Or I can also say give it to me from 1 to 3. If you see 1 to 3, what's the 1 to 3? What did it do for you? What did you notice?
Remove the first one.
They will remove the first one. So that's why you see that normally when you are using your iloc, you have to now understand how it works. So if I use 0 to what? 3, it will give me 1, 2, 3. But if I say 1 to 3, you notice that you omit the first one, isn't it? And now tell you, oh, that one you are calling this 1, it will no longer show it. You show you the second one as what? The first. So can you see how it's working? So if you say, oh, I don't want this one, and give me this one as the first. All right. So if I want to select first 10 rows, how do I select the 10 rows now? With iloc, how do I select the 10 rows?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's iloc 1, 0.
df dot what? iloc, first 10
0,
rows.
column 9.
0 to
0,
9.
comma what?
9.
9.
First 10 rows.
not 11.
Oh,
11.
yeah, 11.
11. Right? If you do it like this, can you see the 11? You know why it happened like this? You know why it's like this? You know, by default, normally, it's supposed to have read it as 0, 1, 2, 3 to whatever. Is that not it? By default, you know, it starts from index 0 now.
Yeah.
Yes.
But remember, when we change it to row ID, this row ID starts from where?
1.
It starts from what? 1, right? So in that case, we may not have index 0. Okay. Even if I do that 0 to 10, 0 to 10 implies what? 0 to 10 implies what?
1 to 10.
1 to 10. Can you see that? The difference now is that because our index now starts from 1, no longer index 0. But if you have used it the way Python is originally built, it normally will start from what? Your 0. I hope you can get the difference now. the way we would have normally have done it would be 0 to 11. So 0 to 11 will give you 0 to 10, 1 to 10. But because here we already set our index to start from 1. We set our index to start from what? 1. Okay. So when it's picking it now, it's going to start from where? 1 to what? Whatever number you want. I hope it's clear now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Good. Okay. Now, just imagine now, if I want to take, sometimes you may want to remove. Okay, let's look at this. Let's first look at this. So if I have, show me the first 6, let's say, show me, let me see how will I put it now. So let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So 5. So I want to see 5 downwards. Show me from 5 below. How will I do it? Show me from 5 below.
df.ilog. Then 5 column.
Column like this, right?
Yeah.
So this one will give you what now?
From 5. Oh, giving us from 6.
But this one give me from 6. So that means if I want from 5, I'll say give me from 4. Okay. Below, isn't it? Now, in the same way, if I say, okay, give me from 5 to 10. So I'll say 4 to what now?
To 10.
Okay. To 10. Okay, if we use it to 10 like this, let's see. Can you see it now? So to show me. So the same way, if I want to see, when I say show me the first 10, first 5, how do we do the first 5? First 5, how did we do first 5?
Dot head. Yeah, that's it.
We said what? df dot head 5, right? Okay, dot head. This is first 5. What other way can we do it? What other way can we do it? df dot head.
But ilog. That's 0, 0 column
5. Okay. Like this, isn't it? Now, another way again, we can also df.ilog will now say, give me to 5. Can you see that now? Can you see another way of doing it again?
Yeah.
So there are 3 ways now you can use. Either you use your head, either you use your ilog, 0 to whatever, or you give me to. Can you see? So that column means everything to this last point. If I have used df.ilog and I say 4 below, that means give me what?
From 5 to the lowest.
Give me from what?
5
from
to the
5 to the end. Yeah? Or if I have said, okay, give me, if I put 5 here, it means give me from 6 to the end. Okay, so can you see how you can read it now? Can you see how to read it now?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Now, if I want to now select specific rows, okay, I want to select specific rows. So for example, let's say df.head. So specific rows, let's say I want to pick row 1, I want to pick row 3, I want to pick row 5. Can you see that? I want to pick row 1, row 3, and what? Row 5. Okay, so what do I do? df.ilog. Now what do I do now?
You put 1, comma.
Row 1,
3, comma 5.
3, and what?
And 5.
What? 5. Okay. Now you see, if I run it this way, right? Too many indexers, right? So normally when you are selecting with ilog, you are expected to use your double brackets. Let me use a double bracket there. So can you see now? So see what has happened now. You know, because in this case, we are reading it. So what do we want to read? We needed 1, is it not? We needed to see 1, and 1 will be what? 0, isn't it? We needed what again? 3. So 3 will be which one now?
2.
Okay. If I've used our normal what they call it now, let's go to our, what was the original one? Superstore, right? That way we had our original one. Yes, Superstore. Okay. So superstore.ilock. So I'll put double brackets. So what do I want to see? I wanted to see what? 1, 3, and 5, right?
Yeah.
1, 3, and 5. So what is it doing now? So it's picking. So look at what it's doing now. Can you see what it's picking? It's picking 1, 3, and 5. So can you see what it brought for you? 2, 4, 6. Can you see what has happened? That's what you are seeing. That's what you are seeing there. When I have written 1 here. So can you see the 2, 4, 6? So you understand what's happening there now?
Yeah.
You know, we are reading it
Superstore
like
started
this.
with
You know, we
0.
are reading it by this.
Mm.
It's actually reading it by this, but it's picking whatever you have here. Can you see
I
that?
guess Superstore started with 0 now, but Roy
Yeah,
started with 1.
No, Superstore started with what? 0, right? Yes,
Yes.
Superstore started with 0, exactly. No, it started with 1. It started with 1. But we are saying by default, Python starts with index 0.
Okay, yeah.
You get, by default, Python starts with what? Index 0. So if I put index 0 here, it will give me the first. Can you see the first one? So it's like saying whatever index it is, -1. Okay. Whatever index you put there, -1. So that's why it's called index location. So it's locating it by what? The index. So even when we put 1, 2, 3 now, it is located by the actual what? Index, not this number here. We are only using this number here just to represent so we can understand how it works. Okay. But we know by default, Python works with what? Index what? 0. So which means if I want to see that, so if I say, so if I want to see 1, I want to see 3. 3 is 4, Abi. Is it 2 that is 3 now? So 2 and let's say 4. Let's see. So we wanted to see 1, 3, and 5. So can you see how it's reading them now?
Yes, sir.
So that is why you must understand your data. So if I want to select, so no matter how many things I want to pick, I can also pick them. So I can pick 45, I can pick 1,000, I can pick 5,000, I can pick which other number again? 2, 3, 4, right? So I can pick them accordingly the way I want them. Okay, I can now pick them the way I want them. Okay, so we just pick the numbers as they are. But you may not pick it exactly like this, but you pick it based on what? The index. So when you are sure of the index, you select the rows based on what? The index. Are you clear with that now? Are we clear with this?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Now, you know, sometimes if I run Superstore, let's say Superstore. Okay, this Superstore, right? Good. Now, assuming I want to remove the first 5 rows. I want to remove the first 5 rows. How do I remove the first 5 rows? First 5 rows. I want to remove the first 5 rows. First 5 rows means that I'm looking for what?
The head.
Like the head, 1 to 5.
1 to 5. So if I say Superstore dot head, right? Now, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so if I say I want to remove these first 5 rows, which means that what? If I want to use in terms of index now, how will I use index? How will I see this same thing with the index?
I log 0 to 4.
Superstore.
So I'll say superstore dot what? I log what?
0 column 4.
0 column 4. Are they the same thing? Are they the same thing? Are they the same?
No, you need to add like 0 column 5.
0 column what? 5. Okay. So 0 column 5. So they are the same thing now, isn't it? So if I want to see, if I want to remove this top 5, so how will I remove this top 5?
So superstore dot drop.
Drop.
What?
Superstore dot drop.
Drop what now?
I log
0 to
You see, sometimes you see when you are
0
using
to
that
5.
drop, you see when you are using that drop, you have to ask yourself, sometimes this data, will I need it later? Okay. If you know you will need it later, just go and keep it somewhere. Let's say maybe I call it DF1, right? So if I want to remove the top 5, it's the same thing as selecting 6 and below, 6 downwards. Is that correct? It's the same thing as saying I want to. This is actually what I want to see.
Yes.
Dot I log 6. So this is what I want to see now, isn't it? From 6 downwards.
Yes, sir.
Is that not it? So which means this one I can now save it as maybe TF1. So that means my data now, DF1 starts from what? 6 what? Downwards. Can you see it? So if I still want my original data is still here. Just in case I still need that data. Okay. So that's why you see when you are removing data, there are different ways of removing and what selecting what data. It depends on if you are going to need that data later. Okay. Depends on if you are going to use that data what later. So we have been looking at the rows, isn't it? We have been looking at the rows. So we know that anytime we say I log 5 below, it means it's the same thing as saying exclude. Okay, this is 6 and below. It means exclude what? 0 to what? 0 to what? 5, isn't it? So give me 6 and what? Below. Index 6 and what? Below. Okay. So if I'm storing it, it's the same thing as say, let me remove. Now, the same way, if we want to select columns, how do we select? Are we okay with rows now? Are we okay with the rows?
Yes.
How to select the columns, the rows, isn't it? We have seen how to remove the rows. So either we select or we just remove, right? Any of them that you want. But you see, for the columns, remember, if I want to check the names of the columns, how do I check them on the column? Let's say superstore columns. Right? Now, the reason why sometimes it's good to bring is so that in case there's any problem, I can easily type. So you know, sometimes, for example, if I want to select sales, how do I select sales? If I want to select sales alone, how do I select sales?
Say superstore in bracket sales.
Superstore in bracket like this, sales. Like this, right?
Yeah.
Good. You can do it like that. You can also do it. Which other way can you do it? Dot sales. Can you see that? I can do it this way, or I can do it this way. Right? Or I can say superstore dot what? Or let's say superstore double bracket sales. Then to now bring it in the pandas form this way. Clear? Are you clear with that? But how do I know when do I use this and when do I use this? How do I know when to use this and when to use this? How do we know when to use which? How do we know when to use the bracket and when to use stop?
I think you use brackets when you're selecting multiple, dots when you're selecting one.
Okay, you said dots when you are using what?
Maybe when you want to select one, then bracket when you want to select multiple.
Okay, good. That's one way, yes. Now, another thing you should take note of, for example, if I have row ID, so can I say row ID? Will this work? Row ID, will it work?
It didn't work.
Because it
So
has
it
a
means that anytime you have a space, which is most appropriate?
The bracket.
The bracket, exactly. So now I can say row ID. Can you see that now? Or I can put it here in double brackets. Row ID. Can you see that now? Okay. So if I want to select more than one columns, right? So that is when actually I will need. So I can say, okay, superstore. Yes. What do I want to see now? Where are my columns now? So I can select whatever. So let me select this one and see. So I can put it here. Okay. So can you see that now? So whenever we have space, can you see why this one is more appropriate? Are we clear with this?
Yes.
Okay. Another thing again, you see, when you're working with your data, sometimes you may want to select, we have been looking at how to select the rows. We have seen how to select column, isn't it? Sometimes you may want to combine and select both the rows and columns. You want to select both the rows and columns. Okay? Because all we have been seeing when we are using the iLock, okay? You also have what they have lock. So let's say, for example, let me show you. There are two of them. There's one they call iLock. There's one they call lock. That's the location. Now let's look at this. So this is Superstore, right? Superstore. Okay. .iLock. So let's run it first and see. Let's say .head. So let's see what we want to select now. I want to select. So if I want to select the first 10, how do I select first 10? Superstore.iLock. How do I select first 10?
0 to 10.
That's good.
0 to what? First
10.
10.
10.
First 10.
11.
11, isn't it? 0 to what? 11. I think this is first 10 now. But you notice that by default, it is all columns. Do you know by default, it is all columns?
Yes, sir.
Now, sometimes you can now say comma, yes. So I want to select first 5 columns. So first 5 columns, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Something like that. So first 5 columns, how do I select first 5 columns? 0 to what? 5. Is that it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you see that now? So what did we do?
Since we first selected for rows first, before selecting for columns.
Yes. Okay. Now, the same way I have used, so let's say Superstore. So I can now use location lock. So look at lock. If you want to look at lock, right? So if you can look at the examples here. Let me give you a typical example now. Okay. So let's say first 10. How would I get first 10? Isn't it? Then I want to pick a specific column. Let's say, which column now do I want to pick? Okay, let's say ship mode. Ship mode. Can you see that now? First 10 for a particular word column. Or I can even say first 1000 for a particular word column. So if I put it in double bracket now, let's see. See, in this double bracket now, it did not pick it for us. Okay. But you can select them, right? Now, if I have used iLock, you see now in iLock now, it will not allow you to pick it that way. You see, iLock will not allow you to pick it that way. So that index location, most times, is to first of all help me to pick what? Just the what on the rows, right? But if I needed to pick both the rows and columns, this is how I'm going to now pick it. But location can allow you pick this particular what column that you want. So for example, if I want, okay, let's say country. So let me change this one to country. Country. So to pick all the countries, first one, 5,000, isn't it? But it's only picking what the country for you with their listing here. But in this case now, it will give you both the rows and the columns. Can you see where the difference lies between both of them? And even when you look at it, you know, the same way we say, okay, give me, let's run it again. Let's say Superstore. Let's say, for example, I have, okay, maybe I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. So let's say I need from customer ID. So I want to pick from customer ID, from customer ID down. Okay, customer ID down. So what do I do? From customer ID down. If I were using the index location, how will I have done it? Customer ID down.
You do 5 to the last.
5 to the last. Now remember, when I am, so first of all, I'm reading it row by column. We are reading it row by column. So what will be the row first? Do I want everything, or do I maybe want top 10, first 10?
Let's do top 10.
Let's do first 10. So how do I do first 10?
0 to 11.
0 to 11, right? Now I want from where now? I want from customer ID down. Customer ID down. So what will it be?
From 5.
This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from 5 means that what? Give me from where now?
5
to 5 to the end. Is it 5 to the end? Is it 5 to the end?
Yeah.
Have you seen it? 5 to the end. Now let's do the same thing. We want to do the same thing with location. So let's see. Superstore.lock, right? So what did we do? We did what? 0 to what? 11, comma. What did we do again? 5 to the end. Is that not?
Yeah.
Now, when we are using the location, it does not understand it by that index itself. So rather, what do we use here? We can now use, what is the column name? What is the column name?
Customer item.
Customer what? Okay, customer ID. Okay. So I can say customer ID. Customer ID to the end. Can you see it now?
Mhm.
So you see how both of them work? They are almost similar, but index location works with the index of the row. So that's how it's going to pick it. But with location, you can use the column name.
At least the column name helps when you have a lot of columns instead of counting.
Yes, yes,
just
exactly. Yes. Okay. So you see, these are now different ways of selecting your data. These are different ways of selecting your data. Okay. Because you know that in some instances, right? If I want to select everything, so for example, if I want to select all the rows, I want to select all the rows. How do I select all the rows? All the rows. You know, this was first 10, right? What we have done here was first 10, then give me from customer ID down to the end. But now, if I want to select all the rows, how do I select all the rows?
0 to the end.
0
So
to
if
the
I
end.
say superstore.lock, it says 0 to what? The end, like this.
Mhm.
Customer ID. Like this, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Now, instead of you using the same thing, I can also do it this way. I don't have to put 0. I'll just remove this. Can you see that? So when you see just this column, it means give me everything. Can you see that? This is another way of saying give me everything. If I have removed this column, now I say, I don't know what you are seeing there. So to give me everything, I'll just put what is semicolon there. So to give you everything, or you can use 0 to the end. Are you clear with this?
Yeah.
Clear?
Yes.
Excellent.
Clear. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So we have seen how to select specific column. We have seen how to select specific row. We have seen how to select specific column and specific rows. So if I want all the columns, how do I do all columns? All columns. How do I do all columns?
You just put colon.
You select
All
the number of how many rows do you want? You can do
So let's say
superstore.
first 10.
Replace it with colon.
Just
Then I
put
just put
column.
semicolon. So
Yeah.
the same way. Can you see that? I'll just put the same semicolon to give me all the rows, all the columns. Are we clear with that? Are we clear with this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, good. So let's quickly just show a few things before we leave.
Just before you go, something just crossed my mind now.
Yes, please.
Supposedly you want to look for, like, instead of saying egg or something, you want to show whereby the thing will be sorted and you select the top 10 or the top highest value or highest what would the highest price, or
The highest price. So you know when we did
highest
when we did grouping now, You know when we did grouping now, we saw how we did sorting now. I think we did that yesterday. Was it yesterday we did it? Where we used the group and now sorted as descending order.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that one. Maybe I'll go back and check.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday, right?
I missed yesterday, yeah.
But don't worry, when we are doing that, when we are going along, I think I'll still show you how to sort.
Okay, good.
I can still show you how to sort. All right. So you see, for example, you know, in your Excel, if this was in Excel, right? I want to pick maybe segment. Can you see segment? I want to pick, let's say, corporate segments. I want to select. Give me this data, but only corporate segments. Only corporate segments. Only corporate segments. Can you see that? Only corporate segments. So how do we do that? Only corporate segments. Yeah. So Superstore. What's the column? I want to select the column. What's the column name?
Segment.
Segment. Segment is equals to what?
Corporate.
Equals to what? Corporate. Now, is this equality? What is this symbol called?
This one is assigned.
Assignment. So how do we check equality?
Equals.
Double equal to, isn't it? So if I run it this way, can you see what it's doing? Where you see false, what does false mean?
No, it's not. It's not.
Where you see true, what does it mean?
It is.
It's corporate, is it not? Now, if I want to bring the full data now, what do I need to do? I will now have to call it Superstore. Can you see that? Then I will now run it again. Superstore segments, right? Segment is equals to what? Corporate. So let's run that now. So if you check it, you expected that everything here is supposed to be what? Corporate. You see how it works now?
Yes.
So you see, now we are in Pandas. You see, we're working as if we're in Excel. Isn't it? We're working as if we're, so anything you can think about in Excel, yeah, try and think about how can I do the same thing in Python. Okay, how can I do the same thing in what? Python. Now you see, sometimes you see when we are using this bracket this way, you know, again, I've also shown you that if I want to do the same thing, there's another way again we can still use. That's again where your lock comes in again. So for example, I can also do the same thing. I say Superstore dot lock, right? Maybe I have Superstore. What do I want to see? What do I want to see? Segment, right? Segment equals to what?
Corporate.
Did it work? Now you see, I can also use this. Okay, I can also use this. Now, assuming now it was, let's say, corporate and which other one? Which other one did they have? Corporate and what?
Consumer.
Okay, let's say consumer. Consumer. What did he say here? He didn't understand what consumer is. So we have consumer. Okay. So let's say consumer. Now you see for consumer now. So in that case, what do I need to now do? For consumer now, what do I need to now do? So you see, sometimes this one, if this one does not work this way, so what can we do? What can we now do?
Can we use or?
Or. So what is the or symbol now? Or segments. So let's see how this will work for us. Equals to consumer. In a Python, or is it or that does it use or? Let's see. It's ambiguous. Okay. Okay, let's look at another way. Which other way can we do it again? If it's not picking it this way. So maybe location will not pick it this way. Let's try it and let's try another way again. So where well, no, I thought this one would have picked it. Okay, so let's see. So where's Superstore? Is equal to this. So did this one work, right? Yeah, this one works. So I'm not saying comma. Give me consumer. Okay, so it doesn't understand it this way. So it means that if we were to pick it, then let us use the normal way. So if I have done it this other way, let's see. So this is how we have done it before, right? So let me try it this way. So I want to pick this or this one is SQL, right?
No, in SQL, we usually use capital letter OR.
Okay. Okay, capital letter OR.
Yes.
Okay, in that case, let's see. So, or, let me see that this one will pick for me. Or, this equals to consumer. Consumer. Hope my spellings are correct. It's not saying. So let me see the or. So how do we use or now? So let me see. If I also pick or, and should be normal and, right? Because you cannot have two of them in the same column. And or.
Okay.
You get it?
Yes,
So
like we should try and.
No, I cannot use and because and is like saying they are in the same column. Do you get it? They are in the same column. So because they are in the same column, the two of them cannot happen at the same time. So I should now use an or.
What if we use comma? Will comma work without or the rest?
That's what I wanted to see. Let me see. Instead of you using this, let me see. If I have used comma here. So I use comma.
What I mean is we used quotes with the superstore segment equals to then put comma instead of the
comma here.
Yeah.
What is not
end of
the brackets.
The brackets at the end.
So I want to pick. Wait, let me see. Or no, I think it's normally.
Can we take out that bracket before the superstore?
Where?
No, before the second.
Okay, this one here.
Yeah.
This one here, right?
Yeah.
So let's see.
And we kind of maybe use comma there or something.
Let me run it and see. So let's see, superstore. So this superstore should close with this one, right? So close. Is the or? I'm trying to remember.
If we use comma, let's try comma here again.
We tried comma the last time.
Here, right?
Yeah, we had the brackets there. Okay. Fine.
It doesn't pick it that way. So it's just like saying, I'm trying to remember if it's and, right? If I'm picking two columns, this and, right? But if it's or, I'm trying to remember how or work. Or let me see. If I say, okay, see what we can do here. Oh, see what we can do. We can say superstore is this and superstore segment is equals to this. Will they work? So it's saying cannot perform. So let us see. Okay, let me try. For example, if I have two columns now, right? Let's see, assume I want to select two columns, right? I'll come back, I'll look for that all now and let you know. If I have two columns, okay, I want to select two columns, right, with different parameters. Let's say what and what now do we want to pick? What and what do we want to pick now? Okay, let's see what and what are we picking. So let's say corporate and let's say cities. Okay, let's say region is west. Okay. So this is it, isn't it? So we have corporate. So this is corporate, right? Okay. And what? And
Consumer.
Okay, and what? Region, is it not? And region, so super store. Okay, let me use superstore.region. Okay, let's just be safe so that it doesn't give me problem. Region is equals to what now? You say west, Abby? So let's check. Have we closed the brackets?
No, the brackets are not aligned. The one we have at the back of corporate, there's no starting for it.
There's no what?
We don't have a starting bracket. We just have a closing bracket.
For which one now?
The one beside.
Okay, here, right? So where? Okay. So I get. So here will be where sales. So I have to open it here now. So open close, right? And open close. I hope this one. Okay, this one work now. So it means that you give us two conditions. That one, it is corporate, and region is what? West. He picked it, isn't it?
Yeah, I did.
He picked it. Now what I'm now saying, what if I now say, okay, either this or this? So where corporate, so let me copy this out. You know, I can use the same thing, right? Whether I use dot or region, it will give me the same thing. And this is equals to what is a consumer, right?
Yeah.
Consumer. Did it work? Consumer.
Yeah, good. It didn't bring up anything. No.
You see, because both of them cannot happen at the same time.
Yes. So now I need to replace that ampersand.
Yes. With
OR. Okay. It still didn't bring out anything. What of OR? Is it necessary to put dots, OR dots, or something like that?
No.
Oh,
if I can remember this thing, let me see the syntax now. Let me see. For all now, right? Let me see. So these pandas, right? So if I say or, let me now search. Let's say or. Categorical. Alternatively, if I just come to my listing, I'll just say maybe Google, I just say or in pandas. Pandas data frame. Using all statements. Normal, it's still all. They still use normal or. Okay, so I think instead of me using, in SQL, I think SQL uses double, what they call it now? SQL uses double R. So here, let me see, use one. And run it. Okay, it has worked now. Instead of using double, SQL is double. Python is one.
One. Okay.
So that's it now. So look at it. So this is where segment is equals to consumer or corporate. Did you get it? So please take note of this. So that or is what? One
slash.
One slash. That's straight slash. That's straight slash, right? Y and is what? Can you see that? One and this is or. So take note of that. Okay, I think we can end it here because I need to get to somewhere. So,
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, that's fine. So please, from now on, we are going into space now, because this is now where your real work starts. So everything.
So all this one I've been doing, is it not space?
No, we are not in space yet.
Hey.
We are not yet in space. All this part we are still. Remember, we are still a data analyst. You see all this, we are still a data analyst. You are still a data analyst. So what I want you guys to do, go back, think of anything you do in Excel in terms of your data analysis. The way you do it in Excel with your pivot table and the rest. Now come and replicate that same thing here with Python. Everything you do with your pivot table in your Excel. So do the same thing now with Python. The same thing now with Python. Because at this stage now, you are as good as a data analyst. You can use Python for data analysis. Okay. So I think what is going to be left for us now is to do data visualization, the machine learning. But there are one or two things I'll still show you about when you are doing your analysis, right? Then how to apply functions and the rest. Dealing with missing data, copying to exporting to Excel, or reading to Excel, importing a web file, maybe from a URL, import the URL. Those are some of the things that will be left for us to do. Okay, so we shall see on Sunday, hopefully.
Okay.
All right, guys. All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right.